How can we better integrate air quality considerations into the design and construction of buildings to ensure it has an initial consideration in any planning application? And should planning obligations be sought to abate or reduce air pollution? In what circumstances would it be appropriate, and how could an appropriate tariff be identified? Or any other comments anyone wants to make about air pollution? Thank you.
Hello. Margot Bright, Westbourne Park Villas. Particularly in connection with the busy transport corridor that contains the Great Western Railway, the Underground, the Westway above it. We'll have Crossrail built there. We'll have additional train movements, etc. Just as far as these questions are raised here, they're to do with buildings, not projects in transport and that kind of thing. There will be a lot of building, indeed there are already, a lot of building applications going through to do with this big transport project. As far as I can see, they're not caught by
the construction phase.
Yes, exactly. The construction phase, but yes, they will have permanent effects as well. And I'm not sure whether they're really caught up by your general strategy on air pollution.
Well, they definitely fall into development, so definitely they would be controlled by they would need planning applications, essentially, in which case they would come under the same as any other sort of development in terms of the application of the policies that we're trying to put together.
We'll put a bit stronger then, because you're looking at something which, perhaps this helps, is already in breach of the levels that Mr. Burkett's been talking about. You need a policy which asks for more ameliorating action in those areas. Just a suggestion.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, one of the difficulties is obviously there are exceedances at the moment, quite clearly, and they're on the map right beside you. One of the things that we need to look at in the policy approach is that balancing that there's no net increase in local air pollution, and whether or not that can be accommodated while still accommodating growth, and whether or not anyone has any comments on that relative balance and how we achieve it and move forward.
These laws are in place to protect public health. If you look at that map, the bottom map, which is a very good map, and I commend the council for producing it. I hand it out at every meeting I go to. It's such a good map. What's important about that map is two things. The first is only the bits in green will comply with the law for nitrogen dioxide with effect from the 1st of January next year. And that's not even the whole of Hyde Park, it's just the Serpentine that actually complies as far as Hyde Park's concerned. And the second thing is that even if the UK gets a time extension from January 2010 to January 2015, a condition of a time extension is it has to keep concentrations of nitrogen dioxide below 60 micrograms per cubic metre, which basically means it has to turn all those dark brown strips into orange strips, which, as everyone can see, is actually all the busy roads. And this is being done for public health reasons. And in central London, the latest estimate is around 3,000 premature deaths per annum as a result of the dangerous airborne particles alone. And if you're one of those 3,000 people, on average, you die 10 years early. The government refers to 7 or 8 months as a maximum impact on people's life, but that is the average for 61 million people. If you're one of those 3,000 people in London, you die on average 10 years early. This is a very serious problem, and I think when you look at this subject in the context of all the other well-being subjects, you need to look at things in perspective relative to the cost on people's well-being and loss of life.
Actually, just at that point, just for everyone's information, and Simon, as you know, we've been working together on this, but the Council is currently preparing a new air quality strategy which will be going out to consultation. We want to use that, obviously, to address some of the issues that Simon and his campaign have raised quite rightly. We also want to use it as a lobbying tool. The Council's previous air quality strategy contained a recommendation for a low emission zone in London, which we used with the previous mayor to lobby him. And as you know, the low emission zone did actually come in. But I just want to raise, I know with my Go Green hat on, I've been working closely with Simon, but it is on the Council's radar, and we will be having a new strategy which will be coming out for consultation shortly.
Yeah, I commend the Council for its approaches on these things. Yeah.
Thank you.
I think very engaging and solid.
I'm encouraged to hear the last bits from Councillor Summers. I just noted that there was nothing in the what you told us about this. And I do wonder if it was all sort of subsumed under a sort of rather fuzzy idea of what well-being is, and it might have simply not actually impinged on people's consciousness. And I assume that developing the pollution strategy, you will be in touch with developers and architects, because they need to be thinking about it from that point of view, and there is no real reference to their role in all of this.
I hope there's a few of them here tonight who may want to.
I mean, I don't want to go into detail, but I mean, just a perfect example of that was raised by Simon on the biomass boilers. Obviously, the planning process, we could very easily put a condition to say you can't have a biomass boiler because that's going to have a huge impact on the air quality. So take your point, Ruth.
I'm Peter Vaughan, the Crown Estate. I was just reading that document actually yesterday, the council document. It makes interesting reading, and what surprised me was the degree of pollution that comes from gas boilers. That could easily be a planning condition to require only the use of the highest low NOx boilers, or the lowest no NOx boilers, I guess, in new developments. I would have thought, I don't know whether that's legally possible, but that would be a way of addressing it.
Certainly explored, yeah. Okay. Right, if there's no more comments on the